Have you ever noticed how some people cancel plans and feel relief instead of guilt? Not because they dislike the person, not because they're depressed or anxious, but because the idea of staying home alone sounds better than anything else. Most people assume this means something is wrong, that you're avoiding connection, that you're isolating yourself. But here's the question. Why do some people need constant social contact to feel alive, while others need solitude to feel like themselves? Stick with me until the end, because what you'll discover might even explain why you've been apologizing for something that's actually how your brain regulates emotional energy. Most people think choosing to be alone is about rejecting others. Psychology shows it's about something else entirely. For some, the story is simple but misunderstood. Social interaction isn't just conversation, it's constant sensory and cognitive input. When you're in a group, your brain is tracking faces, tone of voice, body language, conversational timing, who's about to speak, whether you should speak, how what you just said landed. Psychologically, this is cognitive load, and some brains reach optimal stimulation faster than others, not because they're weaker, because they process more information per interaction. Think of it like a cup filling with water. Some people have a large cup that takes hours to fill. Others have a smaller cup that reaches capacity in 30 minutes. Once it's full, more input doesn't add value. It overflows. And that overflow feels like exhaustion. Solitude isn't emptiness for these people. It's the absence of demand. The brain gets to stop tracking, stop adjusting, stop performing the constant micro-calculations that social settings require. But it's not just about what you're avoiding. It's about what your brain is doing when you're alone. Then there's another group, people who enjoy socializing. The conversation was good, the people were fine. But afterward, they need hours of silence, not because something went wrong, because being around others requires continuous self-regulation. Psychologists call this social monitoring mode. Your brain is constantly asking, how am I being perceived? Did that joke land? Should I have said that differently? Am I talking too much or not enough? This isn't insecurity, this is normal human social functioning. But it costs energy. Over time, the brain rewards you for turning it off. When you're alone, you stop performing. You stop adjusting your behavior based on how others might react. You stop managing impressions. The brain interprets this as relief, not because you dislike people, because self-regulation is work, and work requires rest. Solitude isn't withdrawal, it's permission to stop performing. And this leads to the most misunderstood part. And finally, there's a third group, people who choose solitude not from fear, but from self-knowledge. They know exactly how much social interaction they can handle before depletion. They've learned to recognize the signs, the slight irritation, the mental fog, the feeling that one more question will push them over the edge. Psychologically, this is emotional load regulation. Research on loneliness versus chosen solitude shows a clear distinction. Loneliness is the painful gap between the connection you want and the connection you have. Chosen solitude is the intentional management of your emotional resources. Some people need to spend emotional energy to feel fulfilled. Others need to conserve it, not because they have less, because they use it differently. When you're around people, you're constantly exchanging emotional energy, empathy, attention, responsiveness. For some, this exchange is energizing. For others, it's depleting. And choosing to be alone is often choosing to preserve emotional energy rather than spend it. This isn't about disliking people, it's about understanding your own capacity. The brain has a finite amount of regulatory resources each day. Some people replenish those resources through connection. Others replenish them through solitude. Both are normal, both are healthy, but only one gets questioned. This is why some people feel guilty for preferring solitude when they, quote, should want connection, because society treats constant availability as the default, and anything less as avoidance. But psychologically, the opposite is often true. People who understand their need for solitude aren't avoiding connection, they're protecting their ability to connect well when it matters. Sensory relief, cognitive reset, emotional conservation. All three reveal the same thing. Solitude preference isn't about rejecting connection, it's about respecting your internal regulation system. Your brain isn't broken because it needs downtime from people. It's functioning exactly as designed. The real question is, are you choosing solitude or just feeling guilty about needing it? Because there's a difference. One is self-awareness. The other is shame over something that doesn't deserve it. And this pattern doesn't stop at social plans. It shows up in how you work, how you rest, how you recover from stress. If this explains something you've never been able to articulate, there's more psychology like this here, not motivation, not life hacks, just the behavioral patterns that explain why you do what you do. And if you want to understand your own patterns better, the comments are open. So is the Discord. Because sometimes the best conversations about solitude happen with people who actually get it.